It's time in our meeting for public input. We would invite the public that would like to come to the front. We allocate about 3 minutes per individual, and so we'll turn that time over to anyone who would like to address the board. Come on up.
No, I just have one question.
Okay.
If my son can't go over 3 minutes, are we gonna get tossed out?
I think we don't have a large crowd today, so I think we're okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Allen, I appreciate that.
My name's Christopher Quick. I moved to Cedar City about 3 years ago, and I'm an SU student as well, and hope to graduate soon. I joined the group Voice because I'm concerned about the future of our students in Iron County, eventually my children when I get married and have them living in Cedar City or somewhere in Iron County. Shannon Dulaney has served her school district in Iron County with admirable dedication, so it gives us no pleasure to see her rapid fall from grace. She is by all accounts a decent, considerate woman, and yet her poor judgment has undermined her standing with residents in ways that will permanently impair her ability to act as an effective superintendent. She should resign and retire with the thanks of those she has served as a teacher, special ed leader, and for the past 6 years as superintendent. This is the third time we approach you and asking for the resignation of Ms. Dulaney. Next month, the superintendent is up for review, and we seriously ask you to consider her past behavior during your review. Number one, in 2013, questions arose as to whether the school board overstepped its authority in the way in which it authorized a $1.6 million expenditure for the purchase of a building near the district's headquarters on Royal Hunt Drive. It certainly should have raised red flags when the school board president said she wanted to be the purchasing agent on this sale, and they called for a
I was not
closed door meeting.
president, just so you know.
I was not superintendent.
She was not superintendent, I was not president,
Sure.
okay?
I'll continue reading. Not to mention the seller of the building was the brother of the director of technology for the Iron County School District.
He was not here then, he was not an employee here then. So your information is incorrect.
Okay, I'll continue reading. None other than Michelle Jorgensen Jones' brother-in-law was the owner and the owner of the building when it was purchased. So I
Not
think
true,
hundreds
that's
of
not
thousands of
true.
dollars goes to
Sir,
people either working or
listen,
associated with the school
Can you
district.
stop for a minute and take the truth? That's not true.
I didn't interrupt you guys when you were speaking, and I expect you to be giving that.
Well, you
as
can
well.
finish, but I'm gonna point out your untruth.
And that's fine, but I'm not
in your
interrupting you
statements.
guys when you were having a
Because
meeting.
you deliver messages into the community that is incorrect.
Well, I would
It's
like
not
to finish
true.
reading this letter, please.
Okay.
The bigger question is, when she was superintendent during this process, if Dulaney knew about the sale, that she should have stopped it. If she did approve it, she was clearly in the wrong. Either way, she should have resigned. Point number two, in 2007, Samuel L. Halta was hired as a counselor at Cedar Middle School and began a pattern of sexual harassment. The women complained to both the school and district administrators for years about L. Halta's behavior, both individually and collectively, but their complaints were not taken seriously. The first thing Dulaney should have done was call the police. Instead, she contacted El Halta and provided him with the names of the women who were complaining and asked him to apologize. The woman continued to ask for training to the district, but Dulaney again said no. With no more options and exhausted from all the harassment and retaliatory actions by their leadership, at the district, they filed a lawsuit on October 16, 2016. On March 17, 2017, the suit was settled for $500,000. Shannon Dulaney should have been terminated, adjusted for costing the district $500,000 and keeping the vice principal in his current position at the same school with the same woman he failed to protect. Point number three, as Dulaney was in the middle of an EEO lawsuit, she was working to remove the Redmond name, which she considered racist and offensive. The decision was made after complaints about a routine performed by the Mojave Tawa dance group. The circumstances around this routine have been debated, with some insisting that they not only had approval, but they utilized tribal members for choreography, while others believed that was not the case. Even though Dulaney said at the time there was no need to remove the name of 77 years, she was feverishly working behind the scenes to make sure the name was changed. She said there were complaints of Native American students being bullied, but according to both federal and state reports, there was not a single complaint of bullying at Cedar High School in the past 3 years, and the Cedar Police Department has never been called to investigate any issues of bullying in the past 13 years. She had Rich Nielsen create a fake committee loaded with school board employees loyal to the superintendent who ultimately determines these members' salary treatment. For being dishonest and not transparent to the students and residents of Iron County, she needs to resign. Number 4, the superintendent's primary job is to prepare our youth for the futures after they leave high school. Dulaney has been in her position for 6 years, and every single year ACT test scores have declined. No improvement whatsoever. Dulaney is in fact the CEO of Iron County Schools. In the real world, if a CEO led a company to straight 6 years of dismal performance, the board would ask for their resignation. If you look at the AP test scores for all 3 high schools in Iron County, the college readiness index is at 14.8%. The proficiency rate in reading is at 24, and math is at 25. Iron County needs a leader with proven success running a large organization. The person need not come from your education realm, as long as that person is a good listener. You can't deliver value for your customers if you don't know what their value is. We need someone ready to make big, uncomfortable changes. The kind of changes only a brave superintendent can make, unhindered by politics and relentlessly focused on what's best for kids. The superintendent has had 6 years to improve the district, and simply stated it has not been her job. Dulaney, we're asking you to resign. Thank you.
Chris, there was a lot of inaccurate information. I do think some things need to be pointed out. Superintendent was not in place when this building was purchased. I'll stand behind that purchase. It was a good move. Costs were low. When you're in government, you look to the future, and I think it was a solid move. Michelle, I don't know if you want to address anything else related to the sale of that.
Just that my commissions were donated back to the district so that they could get a better deal on the building.
Her expertise was very valuable in the purchase of that. The mascot, I know, was in a very difficult decision. This was not her agenda. This is the will of the board. She's doing what has been asked of her. And so, be critical of us, but please don't look at those superintendent. The ACT, I'm very familiar with the ACT. The states, over the last recent years, have gone through a statewide implementation. Whenever you do that, your scores are going to drop. But she has been incredibly courageous on a number of fronts, and change is hard. And giving teachers an opportunity to grow and be their best and develop has been a hallmark of her. Giving all students a chance for quality education has been something that she is well researched on and has had a great deal of experience. And I just personally want to express my commitment to her. I have worked with her and found her to be honest, compassionate, kind, and strong. And I'm saddened that people would attack with poor information.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I recently moved back, go ahead and say my name, I guess. I'm Andrea. I have a question though, because I don't know all of the stats on that, and I haven't seen this before today. Was Ms. Jorgensen-Jones a member of the school board during the purchase?
Yes.
And you acted realtor as also?
Yes.
Okay. In the normal world, that would be a conflict. Yeah, so that's my
Actually, no,
question.
there's several people that work on boards throughout the state of Utah that give
I still think it's a
pro
conflict of
bono.
interest.
Well, you can keep that.
You know, and that's all I'm saying
Or else you can look
is
at it
that-
as a benefit that they received that.
I think it would have been better to turn it over to another realtor, just to make sure that there was no question on the matter. That's just my
And
opinion.
you can.
The second thing
entitled
is
to-
that, as far as,
Andrea, I'm just sorry. You know, she didn't force that. She made that offer, and it was a board decision. It wasn't.
I just think it would have been better to not have it involved with a school board member. I think it looks bad, if nothing else, and that's all that's all I'm saying. I didn't know, because I wasn't here
Yeah.
6 years ago, that's why I was
I
asking.
guess part of
the
it is,
question.
she was a tremendous advocate, and it saved us, a lot of money. We were trying to take the taxpayers, but I can see how the optics might look at.
The other thing I would like to say is that I am very concerned as a former parent and a former educator here, a former student here, is that there are problems in the school district. And, in my discussion with other members of the community is that the morale in the district is terrible, and that the parents are very upset with the way things have been handled. I was personally told by the superintendent that no decision had been made on the change of the name of mascot, and I was told that face-to-face in December, and then I heard the August 28th, 2018 tape and realized that that was not a truthful statement given to me. And because of that, I think a public official should always be honest in everything they say, and that was not an honest statement to me. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
And Andrea, I remember that conversation vividly in the aisleway of the auditorium at Cedar High School. And I was truthful with you. No decision had been made. Now, I've heard several people give their interpretation of the August 8th meeting. And yes, it's up for interpretation. And I respect your opinion. But I acted honestly in my conversation with you where I felt an opinion.
Just because of vote.
Andrew, can I finish, please?
Yeah,
I'll let you
please.
finish. I answered your question honestly. I was not lying. A decision had not been made, and that was my opinion, and that was my perspective.
The way it looks to me, though, is that you're defining a decision as a vote, and that's what you're hiding behind it. A vote, an actual vote had not been taken, but when you listen to the August 2018 meeting, you understand what the plan was all along. And that is deception. It's not being completely,
That's not true, Andrea.
yes,
I can
it
tell
is.
you, no, it is not, because I can tell you, and my husband can tell you. I have not decided the week prior to what I was going to do for sure. I attended all of the meetings, and I've been given all the information, so my decision was not made
But
until.
what we were telling you is the information you'd been given. The people that were put on the committee was stacked. They were asked to be on the
That's
committee
your
based upon
opinion, that's your opinion.
No, that's what we have found out.
That's-
And the other thing is, and beyond that, there's been many policies in the school district that are educationally unsound. Late start, XLT time, they lose instruction time. Right now, a student starting in 9th grade until he's a senior loses a semester instruction because of those things. They're educationally unsound, have not proven to bring up scores at all. And the scores are falling. And besides that, the community is torn apart. It didn't need to be torn apart. And people, you've lost the confidence of the people, at least all the ones that I talked to. Thank you.
What has been done at Cedar and at Cedar High since 2016, which started with Harold Haney and Becky Bronson, was absolutely heartbreaking, wrenching. The majority of people at Cedar and at Cedar High did not want the name changed. And you guys sat on this and said you listened to people, you listened to the concerns, that your concerns and the vote was because of the people. That right there is a deception, because it was not. You did your vote, but you didn't listen to the people and what they wanted and what they needed. Since 2012, 2013, test scores have gone down, which we just said. The kids dropping out of school has went up, and that is a big concern. Now, I've talked to many kids, and they said that their voices weren't heard. They went to teachers, they went to administration, they went to faculty, they went to principals, and they asked to talk, and they were told that they could not. They were told that they couldn't talk about the red pen change, the red pen name change. And a lot of children, a lot of kids, a lot of high school kids really felt depressed and that their voice didn't matter, that the things that they care about, you guys didn't care about. And that's not just one or two kids. We've talked to hundreds. And that is a big concern because their voices weren't heard. The voices of Cedar City were not heard. When the majority of the people do not want the name change, and you guys voted to do it anyway. No wonder there is so much contention. There is so much hatred. I have never seen Cedar City so divided in all the years that I have lived here. The upheaval that has been brought to this town is unreal. Some kids are gonna go to school in August. I'm not sure what day it starts. August 18th, something like that. 13th, thank you. August 13th, and these kids at Cedar High are not gonna know who they are. They're not gonna know whether they're the Reds, whether they're the Wolves, or whether they're the Redmen. Parowan are the Rams. Canyon View are the Falcons. Dixie are the Flyers. But what is Cedar City? What is Cedar High? I think it's time that Miss Dulaney, Miss Lambert, Miss Jones, and Mr. Allen step down. I think the chaos, the contention, the confusion, the upheaval that has happened to Cedar and Cedar High speaks in itself. I think it's time to restore the Redman name and let the healing begin. You all say it's too late to bring the Redman name back. It's never too late to do the right thing. It's never too late to do the right thing. Never say never. Redmen are forever. It's time to bring the Redman name home, where it belongs, where it has been here for 77 years. It's not about you three. It's about this community. It's about Cedar City and its heritage of 77 years. It's time to bring Redmond home forever. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Cheryl Stratton. I came totally unprepared. I was gonna plan to write something out because of strategic planning. I didn't have time to do that today. So I'm gonna speak from my heart and what I know. Back in January, actually February, early February, before the vote, we asked for you to delay the vote for more discussion. There was a whole nother side that was never presented in the committee. We've got the binder material and it's 99% slanted one way. It didn't even have Dr. Freiberg's complete study. It only had her first study, or her second part of her study, authored with 3 other psychologists, completely undid the first part, and she actually recommends keeping imagery, along with teaching Native American history. That was never presented to the committee. The committee was chosen, we'll use chosen. People were asked to get people into that committee with a certain viewpoint. Most of the committee consists of employees underneath the district or the school system. We don't feel it was a fair representation of this community. People do things when they think their jobs are at risk. And we know that's a good possibility. What you got now, as Ms. Tamara said, I've talked to no less than 50 students. And we had some other fellow people yesterday talk to a few more. They all want the Redmond name back, and they're angry, quite frankly, as hell. They're angry that they were never asked their opinion by Mr. Dodds. They were never asked for a clear up and down vote. When they wrote in the name on one ballot, that was dismissed and then it went to a computer vote with only the selected names given. These kids are angry. I got greeted just the other night by a group walking down the street in front of my home. Greeted me and thanked me for what we were doing. 2 of them have parents that are employed here.
And they said, we can't say anything because our parents' jobs will be at risk. These kids are stifled not only in school, but in public, and so are their parents because their parents hold the same viewpoint they do. You guys need to think this through a lot more thoroughly than what you did. There are great repercussions that are coming, and that's just known by psychologists. There's going to be some problems. You can let them wear their red men attire. You can do all that. You give them the choice at graduation to graduate as a red hawk or a red wolf or a red man. It still does not mend a 77-year tradition that was taken away from us by a false narrative that's a nationally pressed issue that was pressed onto the Paiute Nation, okay, by national groups that brought it here to Cedar City. We define ourselves here in Cedar City. We're a community. Iron County is a community, and we define ourselves. We have our own traditions and our own beliefs. And I'll be damned if I let some national organization tell me that I'm a racist, because I'm not. I have just about every person in my family of color. I'm not a racist. What I am is a pro-race person. And to eradicate them and eradicate their symbols, to bury this the easiest way possible and not confronting it and lengthening out the discussion was a great service to this community. Now I'll let you know, we're not stopping. There might be a little bit of misinformation. I'll make sure those fact checks are a lot better. But you know what? We're not stopping. And when it comes to the next election, we're hoping that we will have a majority rule, Redmond will be reinstated, and other issues are going to be dealt with. We've got a lacking knowledge in our student bodies right now, clear across all 3 high schools. We've got to correct that. And maybe we need to start getting back to the good old reading, writing, and arithmetic, and quit worrying about all the other subjects that we seem to be taking on. That's it.
Cheryl, you do understand though that there was a divide there. There are
20,
Native
80%.
American people in the community that are wanting this removed.
20, 80%. We have Paiutes within our group.
So
And
you-
she
so
gave-
you
and
told
she
the
gave-
Cedar City.
No, they gave witness testimony last week, or on June 5th, and they say they are greatly divided, and they feel the
They are
majority.
greatly divided.
They feel the
And
majority
so
want to keep.
understand that
Did you
there
go
is
to the
a
powwow
divide.
this past 2 weeks
No,
ago?
I was not in town.
Okay. I was. Did you notice how many men were wearing red skin attire around that powwow that weren't dressed up in regalia? I counted 40 myself. I'm sure there were a lot more that missed my sight. I approached one at the Navajo taco stand, one of the Navajo taco stands. And I asked him, he's a young father, I'd say in his late 20s, had 3 small children. I said, I see you're wearing red skin attire and felt tired. He goes, yeah. I said, don't you find that disparaging towards your heritage? He says, absolutely not. Why would I? And I said, well, he wasn't from here. He was down for the powwow. I said, well, we have a problem here going on in Cedar City where they've taken the imagery away from the high school. He said, really? He said, what were they? I said, redneck. I said, well, I understand where there's a problem there. He said, that's proud heritage. He said, do you know what it takes to be a redman? Do you know what it takes to be a redskin? And he proceeded to educate me, which I already knew, but I politely sat there and listened to because I would like to hear everybody's viewpoint. If the people that understand their history, and there are people within the Native American tribes that don't, just like there are people within all races that don't, but they understand their history, they will do nothing but be proud of that. It has never been disrespected at Cedar City High School. Never. We discussed about you out in the parking lot, and you told us everything about Moe and how this all came to be, and Mr. Dulaney and how he took care of this whole thing. That was a discussion you and 8 witnesses had out in the parking lot. We're trying to tell you it was a wrong decision. You have divided this community, and it's not going to mend. Because we don't get along just to get along. We expect much more diligent investigation and discussion without a preconceived notion of the narrative and how we're going to guide the singular narrative. We know what the narrative was. Now we're going to counteract that narrative.
for you guys, can any of you tell me who the Sons of Liberty are? Any of you?
Say what?
The Sons of Liberty, who are they? Anybody? Anybody over here? Sons of Liberty, okay. Well, the Sons of Liberty were a small group of patriots back in the Revolutionary War who formed an underground secret army. They were the secret weapon for defeating the British. Probably best known for the role in what we know as the Boston Tea Party. So how did a small army defeat the British? Can you tell me that? You know, everybody has heard of it, 3% won. How did they do that? Well, they had help. They had help from native warriors who called themselves red men and redskins. Not in a racist way, literal, because they were painted with red paint. They were called red men and redskins. They were experts of the land, experts in woodland wartime tactics, and they taught them to the Sons of Liberty. That is how they defeated the British. They had help. They did not do it alone. In 1765, after the war was won, the Sons of Liberty founded a new organization. They didn't give themselves the name Sons of Liberty. That was given to them. Do you know what their new name was? Anybody? Sons of Liberty, the new name. The Order of the Red Men. Still in existence today, the oldest fraternal organization recognized by the United States Congress. Order of the Red Men. Paying tribute to those brave red-painted warriors who helped our country win its independence. Any of you know any of that history?
I'm sorry, yes, the Native American Guardians went over at the presentation before the vote.
Thank you for that acknowledgement, because I'm getting nothing. I'm just getting downstairs here. Thank you, Michelle. Well, the principles founded on it reflected to those red native warriors. First, love and respect the flag. Preserve the traditions and history of this great country. Creating and inspiring a greater love of the United States of America. Linking members together in a common bond of brotherhood and friendship. Perpetuating the beautiful legends and traditions of a once vanishing race and keeping alive some of the traditions, customs, ceremonies, and philosophies. Those customs and philosophies and beliefs are woven into the very fabric that this country is founded on. The very first congressional medal George Washington ever gave was to a Native American.
Chief Red Jacket.
Context and intent do matter. History matters. Facts matter. The Red Men name was chosen to pay tribute to those warriors for the honorable attributes associated to them. Removing that name does nothing but promote racism and divide. That is not who we are. That does not reflect this community and our beliefs. And I know a lot of people say that our community is divided and torn apart. You know what? We're not. I would say 80 to 85% of this community is united.
Yep.
United in a way that they are upset. We feel lied to, we feel manipulated and deceived. By all of you. Well, not all of you. We've got two on the end here that didn't participate in that. But the rest of you did. You did knowingly. You pushed a false narrative on this community that does not reflect us. And you were all voted by a majority vote. It's a very democratic process. You speak for the majority, not the minority. That's what we in the United States of America call democracy. Yes, we're a republic, but we have a very democratic form of government in our community.
Yeah, but we have to remember that we are a republic and we do have to.
You're not a republic, Michelle. You were voted by a majority vote.
I was voted by a majority vote, but we pledge our allegiance to the republic. And we can't, sometimes we have to stick up for those that can't. I feel like that you're discounting the opposite view of this, because I understand there is two views to this whole,
Definitely.
and you do too. And so just because we differ on one opinion, you know, we're gonna differ maybe once in a while on an opinion,
Absolutely, we are.
okay?
But there are two narratives, and I will give you that, there's two narratives here. So why are you choosing to go
Well
with
over
the one?
3 minutes, so.
I don't care, Mr. Allen, I know my rights.
We asked if we could take.
And I said I'd give some latitude, but
If I'm just, I mean, this is an open public forum, is it not? It's meant for
this is
discussion.
a public meeting
Okay,
that you're
and
able
you
to
are a public
observe.
servant.
And we do open it up for public comment, but that's not a requirement.
Anyway. We will restore this Redmond name. Our community is very united on that. A lot of them are not speaking out, but they will. They will. You will hear us loud and clear at the next election, as you guys do not have an appeals process, which is mind-boggling to me. Absolutely insane. The President of the United States decisions are subject to an appeal process, yet the Iron County School Board is not. Next week is our Independence Day. So as you celebrate, I hope each one of you, at some point while you're celebrating, take a look up on this hill over here and see that name and that symbol. And with reverence and humility, remember who we owe our freedoms to. The Redmen Warriors.